Good evening to our viewers watching on television and those joining us online across our social media platforms. I am Magana Dorg with Friday, August 14th edition of the Guyana TV9 News. In the headlines tonight, Fire Chief, we are equipped, ready and fit for purpose. Chicken imports aim to stabilize prices as local demand surges. Fire Service seeks more firefighters as national station expansion gathers space. Guyana takes CARICOM education chair with pledge for stronger regional action. And President Ali proposes relocation in new fishing facility for Rivers View families. Now for the news in depth. Guyana has assumed the chairmanship of the Caribbean Communities Council for Human and Social Development on Education with the Minister of Education, Honorable Sonia Parag, pledging strong leadership and decisive action to advance the region's education agenda. Here's more.
Minister Parag described Guyana's assumption of the chair as an honor as she welcomed education ministers, senior CARICOM officials, permanent secretaries, technical officers, chief education officers, regional institutions, and development partners to the 52nd meeting of COSAD on education. She also acknowledged Parliament Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Mishka White-Griffith, who was present at the opening.
It is an honor to assume the chairwomanship of this important council. Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett, colleague ministers of education, Assistant Secretary General Wendell Samuel, and other distinguished colleagues from the CARICOM Secretariat.
The minister said Guyana is honored to host the region's education leaders over the two-day meeting, which comes at a critical period for education systems across the Caribbean and the wider world. She pointed to the rapid transformation taking place in learning, teaching, and skills development, noting that education is being reshaped by developments taking place both regionally and globally. According to Parag, the scale of information and activity surrounding education today is evident across social media and organizations engaged in the sector worldwide.
It means that the 52nd meeting of the Council for Human and Social Development, particularly for education, is most timely. And our theme, being Education for Life, Purpose, and Caribbean Progress, indicates that we have a lot to discuss over the next 2 days. But before we get into that, permit me to extend my sincere appreciation to my colleague and predecessor, the Honorable Minister of Education of Grenada, for the leadership provided during Grenada's tenure as chair of COSAD. I commend the Minister for his dedication, strategic direction, and commitment to advancing our shared education agenda. As I take up the chairwomanship of this very important body, I wish to commit to each of you my unwavering support, my steadfast commitment, and my intention to work hard.
Minister Parag said the changing education landscape makes the 52nd COSAD meeting particularly timely as regional leaders seek to address emerging challenges and opportunities affecting education and skills development. The discussions are expected to focus on strengthening cooperation among Caribbean countries while identifying practical approaches to improve education outcomes across the region. The meeting is being held under the theme Education for Life, Purpose, and Caribbean Progress, a focus Parag said reflects the breadth of issues confronting the region's education sector. She said the theme indicates that there is significant ground to cover during the two-day engagement as Caribbean education leaders work together to shape policies and initiatives that can support learning, skills development, and the region's continued progress. Brad D'Souza reporting for Guyana TV9 News.
Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa says the government's decision to allow limited chicken imports is aimed at stabilizing prices and ensuring adequate supply aimed at sharp increase in local demand for poultry meat. The minister said the move follows discussions with the Poultry Producers Association and an assessment of the country's current production, supply, and demand levels. Here's more.
Mustafa explained that poultry consumption in Guyana has increased tremendously, placing additional pressure on local producers and the available supply. He said the government does not want the situation to result in higher prices for consumers, prompting a decision to temporarily supplement local production with imported chicken.
The production of chicken we have upped the production of chicken. I have said that the demand have increased tremendously. The local demand in our country, the consumption in our country has increased tremendously. And that has put a strain also on the production and supply in our country. And I don't want the price to escalate. I have had a meeting with the Poultry Producers Association. They requested that we imported some amount of chicken, limited amount of chicken. I took almost a week to do the analysis, to look at the production, to look at the supply demand, and I've given the permission now that within the next few weeks, we'll be importing approximately 330,000 pounds on a weekly basis.
The minister said the importation is expected to begin within the next few weeks, with approximately 330,000 pounds of chicken entering the country each week. He stressed that the quantity is limited and was determined after nearly a week of analysis focused on domestic production, supply, and demand. According to Mustafa, the imports are intended as a short-term measure to prevent shortages while local production returns to normal levels. Minister Mustafa said the government expects the poultry sector to recover by the end of August, with domestic production continuing to expand. He pointed to the establishment of tunnel-ventilated poultry pens being operated by young people as one of the measures expected to boost production and strengthen the country's ability to meet growing demand. 5 of the new tunnel-ventilated pens are currently operational, with a combined capacity of approximately 40,000 birds every 6 weeks. Mustafa said 6 production cycles are planned, while the number of operational pens is expected to increase to 14 by the end of the year. He said this expansion, along with investments by private poultry producers, will significantly increase the availability of locally produced chicken.
And the main focus is not to cause the price to increase. So that amount of chicken coming in the country would not cause chicken price to go up. We will have a stable price and a price will be there, but I think by the end of this month we should be back to normal. Our production level will continue to go up. And besides what have been producing over the years, we have now 5 tunnel ventilated pens that young people are operating with 40,000 birds that will come out every 6 weeks.
Minister Mustafa said the government's broader objective is not only to satisfy domestic demand, but eventually position Guyana as a net exporter of poultry products. He said ensuring adequate supply for the local market remains the immediate priority, with increased production expected to reduce pressure on the sector and create the capacity for Guyana to move toward export markets. Brad D'Souza reporting for Guyana TV9 News.
More news after the break. Stay with us.
I know you have work to do, but come, I just need a minute of your time. It won't even take that long. So, I have a proposal. We could do besties in Punta Cana. Really need a getaway. And not to worry, I went to Sunita Travel Agency and they recommended a few hotels that do all-inclusive stays. And they're very affordable. The vibes. Let me tell you something. We do not want to miss a trip to Punta Cana. Why? Ziplining. No, I know this is not your vibe. Please, listen. Hold on. Wait. I know you like throw it back. There's a boat party. We could go there. And then there's this thing called buggy adventure, some buggy something. I don't know, but I want to be a buggy or whatever it is. I just want to be a part of it. And then we got snorkeling. Oh, this thing is so ugly. Please, you be next to uglier things than this. Stop it. Trust me, you're going to love it. It'll be just you and me, Punta Cana, drinks, just having the time of our life. Not to worry. We've got many flight options, and they made sure that they went through it with me. The prices are affordable. Trust me, I know you like thinking about the budget or whatever. Remember the time when we went and we missed the flight? Yeah, when we booked with Sunita Travel Agency, even if it happens, with slim chance, they'll know what to do and we won't be stranded like we did the last time. This solid plan. You, me, Punta Cana. Cheap. It won't even hurt your pocket. Please say yes. Yes.
Welcome back. You're watching the Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. The Guyana Fire Service is looking to increase its complement of firefighters as it expands its presence across the country and work towards bringing emergency response services closer to communities. Details in this report. Fire Chief Officer Gregory Wickham says the service currently has more than 1,000 firefighters, but additional personnel will be needed as few fire stations are established. He said the demand for more human resources is directly linked to the service's strategic plan to strengthen its national footprint. Wickham explained that the long-term objective is to have a fire station in almost every community and region, allowing firefighters to respond more quickly when emergencies occur. However, he noted that each new station will require personnel to operate it effectively.
Guyana Fire Service, we have 1,000 plus firefighters. And like any entity or organization, there's always going to be a need for more human resources. And I specifically speak to that fact because as we play out or launch out with our strategic plan to have almost every community, every region have a fire station so that it can have that emergency response from the fire service. As we build new stations, of course, we have to get more staff.
To meet the anticipated demand, Wickham said the fire service has been increasing its recruitment and training efforts. He noted that 107 recruits recently completed their training and have now joined the ranks of firefighters, strengthening the service's available workforce. He said preparations are already underway for another intake, with plans to train an additional 110 recruits before the end of the year. According to Wickham, the continued training of new firefighters is central to ensuring that the service can adequately staff new stations while maintaining its existing operations.
We are training more and more recruits to come on board. Just a few months ago, we would have trained and they would have completed their training 107 persons who are now in that fold of firefighting. And we are preparing to train another 110 before the year comes to an end. So yes, there is need for more firefighters, and we are addressing that by doing the requisite training so that we can able to satisfy those.
Wickham acknowledged that the expansion of the fire service will create an ongoing need for additional personnel, but said the service is actively addressing that requirement through recruitment and training. He said building out the network of stations and strengthening the workforce will ultimately enhance the fire service's ability to provide faster emergency response and improve protection for communities across Guyana. Adana Dark, Guyana TV9 News. More news after the break. Stay with us.
Want to place your death announcements and in memoriam messages on Channel 9? Call 592-761-5006, 710-5008, 600-5006. Or visit our office at Lot 85A Lamaha Street, Albertown, Georgetown, Century 21 Building.
Guyana, Channel 9 is now Guy TV9, proudly under new management. We're building stronger with a balanced and open platform for all advertisers. Whether you're promoting a business, service, or event, your message belongs right here. So choose your spot, news, primetime, or anytime, and reach viewers across Guyana. With affordable rates and professional service, Guy TV9 is your partner in progress. So visit us at Lot 21A, Lamaha Street, Georgetown, in the Century 21 building, or call 600-5006 or 761-5006. Guyana TV9. New leadership, fresh outlook, real results.
Welcome back. You're watching the Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali has met with families living along the river dam at Riverview, outlining plans to relocate residents to safer and more suitable housing while maintaining access to facilities needed by the community's fishermen.
During the engagement, President Ali said the government is prepared to move families incrementally through its social housing program, while making clear that the development of the current riverbank settlement would not be possible if residents remain on the site.
We want to help y'all, so y'all can't say that you don't want to move from here. There's no way we can develop here. This is on the riverbank. So what we want to do, we are ready to move y'all incrementally. And we'll take down all of this, right? We'll help you with a social housing program. And then out here, we can build a little wharf.
The president also proposed that once the relocation is completed, the area could be redeveloped to support the fishing community, including the construction of a small wharf and shed where fishermen could return and continue using the location for their activities. He sought the agreement of residents to the proposed approach, stressing that the plan would allow families to transition to safer housing while preserving a facility that could continue to serve fishermen. Residents were asked to work with the government on the relocation process. The proposed relocation comes against the backdrop of concerns associated with families living directly along the riverbank, while the government's stated priority is to provide children and families with a safer, more secure, and healthier living environment. The plan seeks to balance improved housing conditions with continued economic and community activity for residents who depend on fishing. President Ali said the process will be carried out incrementally, with the government taking up the existing settlement as families are moved. The proposed redevelopment of the riverfront would then provide a more organized space for fishermen, while relocated families would have access to social housing and the greater stability associated with safer accommodation. Brad D'Souza reporting for Guyana TV9 News.
Chief Fire Officer Gregory Wickham has responded to recent allegations concerning the Guyana Fire Service, including claims about firefighters using buckets of water, while providing clarification on conditions at the service's headquarters and highlighting ongoing efforts to strengthen its operational capacity. Our reporter has the details.
Wickham said the administration of the Guyana Fire Service, along with the Ministry of Home Affairs, places significant emphasis on the welfare, well-being, health, and safety of firefighters. He acknowledged that the fire service headquarters on Homestretch Avenue has experienced several deficiencies since the service began occupying the building, but said efforts have been ongoing to address those concerns.
I must first make it very clear that the administration of the Guyana Fire Service, and by extension, the Ministry of Home Affairs, pays great attention to the staff welfare, well-being, health, and safety to ensure that we all have a good working environment. To the specific issue, I wish to make it abundantly clear that from the moment we began occupying this structure, our headquarters at Homestretch Avenue, we have encountered several deficiencies.
Among the issues identified were a leaking roof, cracks in the walls and glass surfaces, as well as recurring problems with fixtures, washroom facilities, and plumbing. Wickham said the building was constructed by Mohammed Enterprise and that the fire service has carried out repairs over the years as various defects emerged. He explained that the administration of the Guyana Fire Service and the Ministry of Home Affairs subsequently retendered for the necessary works. A contractor was awarded the contract and, according to Wickham, commenced work on August 6, 2026. He said the current project involves replacing facilities in the washroom areas and is still ongoing. Beyond the condition of the headquarters, Wickham pointed to improvements in the service's operational readiness, including the provision of personal protective equipment and breathing apparatus for firefighters. He said these resources are intended to allow personnel to safely operate in hazardous environments that would otherwise not support human life.
I therefore must let us all know that our staff, they are now being equipped with their personal protective equipment. They now have breathing apparatus set that will allow us to work in an environment that would not normally support life or breathing. We have many new fire tenders. We have also been extending the service because prior to a few years ago, there were just about 7 or 8 fire stations.
Wickham also highlighted the acquisition of the new fire tenders and the expansion of the fire service's national footprint, noting that the number of fire stations has increased from approximately 7 or 8 several years ago to more than 20 stations across Guyana. He also pointed to the contribution of emergency medical technicians who have been responding to medical emergencies and, this year alone, assisted in the delivery of 9 babies. Wickham said the Guyana Fire Service will continue working to improve staff welfare and maintain its readiness to protect lives and property, while assuring the public that concerns raised by firefighters are being addressed by the service's administration and the Ministry of Home Affairs. Brad D'Souza reporting for Guyana TV9 News.
Now for your Caribbean News Brief. The Dominican Republic ordered 9 Cuban diplomatic officials and their families to leave without giving a reason. Cuba condemned the move as submission to U.S. pressure amid strained relations with Havana. The expulsions follows growing regional tensions, with several Latin American governments distancing themselves from Cuba and aligning with President Donald Trump. Now turning to international news. The UK temporarily banned disposable barbecues and issued a nationwide wildfire warning as droughts and extreme heat pushed temperatures above 38 degrees Celsius. Prime Minister Andy Burnham called Britain a tinderbox after fires destroyed 19 homes. Officials fear worsening climate conditions, dried vegetation, and scarred firefighting resources could trigger more devastating wildfires nationwide. President Donald Trump is asking the Supreme Court to allow construction of a $400 million White House ballroom, arguing it is necessary for presidential security, national interest, and architectural preservation. Lower courts ruled that Congress must approve the project. Trump's appeal comes after a federal appeals court ordered construction to stop. Those are our major headlines for tonight's newscast. For more trending stories, follow us on our Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube platforms at GYTV9. I'm Madana Darek. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful weekend.